Hey everyone, thank you guys so much for joining with us here on Married for Life.
Yes, married for life.
Married for life.
Married for life.
You know, we were just talking, Jared and I were just talking about
Yes.
how, sometimes we just start to take on some of the other person's traits. And I used to be so
Like
just,
stiff.
rude. Very rude.
Not silly.
Not silly, but now I am silly.
Ooh, she's silly.
We should have outtakes. I
You
will
got-
not do it, but the idea is great.
The idea is great.
If it was for anyone else but me, it would be fantastic.
That's
But
awesome.
but today we are on week 5
Week
of
5.
creating a love that lasts.
Yeah.
Which is so important. And being silly is probably part of one of those major important
Love
things.
that lasts.
But before we get started, don't
Yep.
forget to hit the notification bell. Follow us here on social media. Why? So you can be notified when we go live or make posts so we can engage. Because I think, part of creating a love that lasts in our relationship is to have conversations with other people that we can learn and grow
Please,
from.
please utilize the comments.
Yes.
Utilize the chat box. I guess it'll be the comments, right? Just utilize that, my friends. If you're going through a struggle, or if you want to encourage someone, or you just want to share something great in your marriage or in your relationship, put it in the comments. If it's private, or if you need you need prayer and you don't want to let everybody know, that's good. That's totally understandable. Understandable. DM us if you're looking for people to pray, or you can simply say, "Hey, we're going through a struggle. We need prayer."
Yeah.
Or, "Hey, this was going on. Something exciting. We need prayer." So anyways.
And which I think is great. Also, if there's, some other things you're like, I would really like us to talk about this.
Yes.
Put that in the chat box because you know what? It's going to help us to formulate some things that aren't just, what we've gone through, but also how we've interacted with some of those things you guys are going through now, because it's great to have people that have gone before you.
Yeah.
And some of you guys have gone before us, which we'd like to learn.
But not many of you.
Because it's been a
long time.
Over these past few weeks and over the next few weeks, we are talking about practical and intentional small deposits that we can make in our relationships that is going to create this, creating a love that lasts, that is impactful, which I think is important. I think when we go to the altar or when we're dating and we're talking about being married, there's all of these dreams and desires that have maybe been part of your whole life, or romantic movies that you've watched, how you think it's going to unfold. But, we need to create that on a daily basis. It doesn't just end at the altar. It actually begins there. So how do we create a lasting and meaningful relationship by depositing things that are necessary? Well, we understand that each one of us have a love tank.
Yep.
And it's likened to a fuel tank in a car. A car needs you to put gas in it. If it's a diesel truck, it needs diesel. It needs a certain kind of fuel in order to make it go. The same
or plugged
with us.
in. Now you can plug it in. Plug it in. Plug it.
No, it's not a plug-in, honey. It's not a smelly thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
It's not Glade plug-in.
I got it, girl.
But we understand that other things need fuel or to need to be recharged. We are the same way. So how can we recharge each other or to fuel the love tank of the other person? Last week we talked about gifts. Today we are going to talk about acts of service, which is his primary
would be my primary love language.
So the next few minutes, I want Jared to talk about, from a perspective of someone that this is their love language, how do you create a love that lasts through acts of service?
Well, acts of service is it can sound kind of like, what do you mean acts of service?
You are my slave.
Do it, woman. No, anyways. Some of y'all just got triggered.
We're kidding.
Joking.
We're really kidding. Yeah.
Imagine me telling her, do it, woman.
That's gonna go real good.
Yeah, it's not gonna go well.
Okay.
That's not gonna go anywhere. You'll get no acts of service, friend. So acts of service is not just sex either.
True.
Well, I can think sometimes acts of service, like if a man is talking about sexual things, it's actually it's not.
No.
Well, it is, but it's not. Is it? No, not really. No. But you'll understand more here in a second. We don't want to think automatically the only thing men need is sex.
Right. Or to take care, clean my house, take care of my kids.
See, I think that's great.
Yeah.
And so if your spouse's love language is acts of service, they feel loved. That love tank gets filled up
Yes.
when you do specific activities for them, whether they ask for the support or not.
Yes.
You're giving them your energy and time by doing something that makes their life easier or more enjoyable. And we're gonna talk about that. If this is not your love language and you don't understand why this is so important to your spouse, it can feel like you have a chore list. And that's what we're talking about. It can feel like you have a chore list and it's just simply getting longer, you know. And so we're going to explain how that looks, what that really means to actors. And the reason I said, and I like what you said, it's not just sexual activities.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's not just like, serve me,
And honestly, I don't want to also think that this is just a male love language.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of ladies that acts of service.
You're gonna see how this is it's not a male or female. It's like,
it's not gender dominated.
Yeah. That's the thing. You're so good with these words.
Well, it's just all this studying that the Lord's got me doing.
The Lord's got me doing. This is why it's important to understand each other and discover each other's needs and how they receive and feel they are loved. Again, think about that love tank.
Yeah.
This is what helps that person feel loved. If your love language is acts of service, remember, love is a choice.
Yes.
Right? This isn't something that can be coerced.
Yeah.
Right? What do I mean by this? Criticize your spouse's behavior isn't going to give you the lasting results that you want or need or desire.
Yeah.
Instead, if you need or want something, this will be the hardest. Make the request.
Yeah.
Let somebody know. If your spouse's love language is acts of service, pay attention. I mean, in any love language, but pay attention. There's clues. There's certain things that you can kind of pick up on, and if this is your love language, where you're a male or a female, you'll start seeing some practical things here. Listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
The comments and criticisms can provide you the clear understanding of what is that they need.
Yeah.
If comments and criticisms are happening, that's why in fights, because no one ever fights. We just talk loudly. Of course,
yeah.
We have to learn how to fight from the same side.
Yeah.
So if there's comments and criticisms going on in any area of these love languages, because it will happen for each one, pause for a second and listen. Okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Okay. People tend to criticize their spouse most loudly in the area where they themselves have the deepest emotional need.
Yeah.
So let's think about that. People tend to criticize their spouse most loudly in the area where they themselves have the deepest emotional need.
Which I think is important. Communication is key. And we're talking about mostly nonverbal, communication, love languages, and filling each other up. It's not always the I love you that is going to, well, I said I love you, is going to give that person, they're going to feel the love.
Yeah. Unless your love language is words of affirmation.
Right. And that's going to be a big deal. Yeah. But, we also need our actions to back up what 100%. Our words are saying. Yeah. And one of the critical things, especially to someone acts of service or even any of our love languages, we automatically think, and I think this is something that's built into each one of us, we automatically think, well, if they love me, they would know. Yeah. That is not, I cannot read my husband's mind and he cannot read mine. And I know that I've been there. It's like, well, or I've said it, I've hinted all of these times and he still doesn't, or she still doesn't get it. Communicating and re-communicating our needs and desires through requests, I think is important.
Communication. Can I just say something real quick?
Yes, of course.
May I?
You
Since we're talking about married for life.
Yes.
Again, just a reminder, because we've said it in each video, and I feel like I have to say it each video because I think it's really like a Holy Spirit, not using the God card as a trump card. No pun intended. So that was bad. Anyways, no one started like pause. Anyway, no one started your marriage at an altar. Pastor Angie alluded to it. We've said it in each video. The husband didn't stand there at the altar and see the bride coming, and with a thought, we'll see how this goes for the next 2 or 3, 4 years, 5 years. The bride's not walking up there going, he's so handsome. Oh, this is gonna be so great. Yeah, we'll see where we're at in 7 years. No one thought that. You get into basically an attorney's office, not always, but let's say an attorney in the breakup of a marriage.
Yeah.
the number one thing I think is going to get you there is communication.
Yeah.
Or
lack thereof.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. That's what Pastor Andy's talking about is communication. Learning how to communicate with each other is the hardest thing. Came home last night. Was it last night? Night before. See that? Communication was not good on my part. Let me tell you that right now. It took a lot of communicating my apologies afterwards. But it's communication. Learning how to communicate on the same side. Again, kind of funny story. No one blows up really because the toilet seat was left up or down. No, it's something led. I mean, it goes back. I said it over and over again. Yeah. Why are you? It's a boiling up of a lot of things. And communication, for clarity, is not just me sharing my words. Yeah. Or me giving you whatever it is I think that you need. A communication is a two-way street, is a conversation that happens back and forth. I can say things, but are you understanding what it is that I'm saying? I can communicate with my acts of service because we're talking about acts of service today, but am I communicating in the way that you need me to communicate? And I think that's why what you said is so important. You know, if this is not your love language and your spouse's love language is acts of service, hearing what it is that they're saying is going to help you, not hearing how they're saying it, but taking a moment and listening to what they're saying is going to give clarity to what it is that they need. Yeah. So putting this into practice, practical ways to fill your spouse's love tank through acts of service. One, if you don't know where to start, I want to say, ask your spouse for 10 things that they would enjoy to happen in their life. It's really hard. I tell you, on both ends. Yeah, because you're like, oh God, this sounds terrible. Man, I don't want to, please do my laundry and put it away. Oh man, you know your spouse hates doing laundry. Yeah. I don't like doing laundry, but I understand. But you're so efficient at it. But I understand why it's important. And I'm like, well, I know that when he comes home, if all of his laundry is put away, he's going to be like, oh, babe, thank you so much. And just like seeing that as like Christmas Day, honestly, like when you watch that person that you love open a gift and they enjoy it, that's really what seeing someone receive their love language is. It's like that gift that happens for no reason other than I just love you. Yeah. So if you don't know where to start, ask your spouse to write 10 things down so you guys can both begin this journey together. A couple of different ideas, things that I do, and these are just more of my personal, experiences or things that I think about. Giving your spouse a foot massage. Jared stands on his feet every day. About 10 hours. I don't like feet. So this is a big deal to me. I don't really like feet, but I understand taking 10 minutes of my day and doing something that he knows that he's never asked me to do it. So this isn't, anything like that, but it has made a big difference for when you go stand. Yep. 10 minutes, foot massage, a hand massage. I've done that too. Run a bath by candlelight. You're like, does he really like that? Oh, yes. Yes, he does. Those who know me know. And I try to add something different every now and then. And I added music, as I run the bathroom. Let your spouse sleep in. If they're busy and, the kids are up running roundabout, let your spouse sleep in, take the kids, go do something, make coffee, and just give them their space. Plan a weekend away or give them a handwritten love note, telling them how much you're like, well, isn't that words of affirmation or isn't that gifts? Yes, some of these actually go hand in hand, but sometimes putting things in a visual setting, but you're actually taking time to write it and do something for them actually helps in this way. So these are just a few ideas. Just you guys can begin to create your own list, but some practical ways. Make a plan to do this daily for the next 30 days. We're talking small deposits. We're not talking major mountains moved. We're talking small deposits every day. Just pick one each day to show your love through acts of service. And in closing, before we wrap up, on this video, this time together. If you're a person that you're thinking, I would do this if she would. Yeah. I would do this if he would. You're already headed to trouble. Yeah. If you're, now that's not a criticism. Yeah. That's just flat out fact.
Yeah.
You're heading down the road of trouble if you're already there. And if you are there, hey, there's hope for you, right? That it's called the journey of life. You know, you're in the right place, the right time.
You can make adjustments.
You can make some adjustments. It's good. You know, that's what you want to do. It's like I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner, right? Student. And it's like little adjustments cause great effect. Yeah. Right? Little adjustments in our life. Chiropractor, little adjustment can cause great effect.
Yeah.
You can make little adjustments in filling those love tanks, which will have great effect in the future. So,
yes, so good.
Don't forget, the love language of one person is not necessarily the love language of the other person. So this is an opportunity again to discover your spouse in a new way. Over the next few weeks, we're going to continue on to go in depth in each of these 5 love languages, giving practical tips.
Yes.
I think we're doing that. And there's also a quiz. If you haven't taken the quiz, you still can. You still can. Still can take it. That quiz is in the chat box.
Yes.
And please don't forget to follow us here. Invite other couples.
Yes.
You know, and if you're thinking about, man, this one couple, you should probably invite them.
Yes.
If you're actually thinking this one couple needs to, you know, be a good friend. Say, hey, man, why don't you join? You know what? Say, hey, you're peace.
I didn't even touch it.
Well, yes, you did.
No, I
you're
didn't.
messing with it.
Oh no, it's still going.
You're so crazy.